That's right. It's time for the news. KP's Video News. I brought back one of my old jingles. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Georgia Bulldogs took that victory there yesterday. I didn't have a dog in the fight, but yep, Georgia Bulldogs pulled it off and beat Alabama, and a lot of folks are upset and crying and lost a lot of money. That's why I don't bet on college sports. But I don't know. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is, folks. Gambling is an addiction, just like alcohol. But yeah, I'm gonna dive into a couple of stories here, and a couple of these stories are pretty similar here. Uh, However, the outcomes are different. Anyway, we have a former Oklahoma police officer got sentenced to 25 years for killing her daughter's boyfriend. That's right. So this was Shannon Kepler, a 24-year veteran of the Tulsa Police Department, fatally shot his daughter's boyfriend. This actually happened like 7 years ago. Anyway, he got sentenced to 25 years in jail, and wow, crazy man. Also was ordered to pay the cost of a grave marker for his victim, 19-year-old Jeremy Lake. Kepler and his wife were having a difficult time with their adopted daughter, Lisa, and responded by leaving her at a homeless shelter shortly after she turned 18 with no money, cell phone, credit cards, or clothes other than what she wore, according to the statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Oklahoma. Days later, Kepler was alarmed when he logged onto his daughter's Facebook account and discovered she had charged her status to being in a relationship with Lake, whose family said he was a volunteer at the shelter, according to the attorney's statement. Uh, while still on the job, Kepler then asked a records clerk to use police databases to gather information on Lake and printed out police reports about him. The day of the crime, the U.S. Attorney's Office statement said Kepler changed into dark clothing, used his wife's SUV, and then traveled after dark to Lake's last known address carrying a loaded 357 Magnum revolver that he knew would leave no shell casings at the scene. Approaching Lake's address about 9 p.m., Kepler saw his daughter and Lake walking together, and he was rebuffed when he tried to speak with her, and she kept walking toward the home. As Lake stood in the street, Kepler pulled his revolver and shot Lake twice. Lake died almost immediately, the U.S. attorney stated. And afterward, Kepler fired toward his daughter, the victim's brother, and the third witness to the killing. The judge previously dismissed the separate assault charge for firing at Lake's brother. Kepler then fled the scene, testifying that he knew his fellow Tulsa police officers would be hunting for him, his vehicle, and his weapon. He abandoned the SUV at a former Motel 6 just off the Broken Arrow Expressway and eventually turned himself in approximately 14 hours after the shooting. His former attorney brought the steel loaded murder weapon to the Tulsa police station in a Ziploc bag. When testifying, Kepler claimed, although no gun was ever found at the scene, he shot Lake in self-defense after Lake got the jump on him, pulling a shiny semi-automatic pistol from his pants pocket, the officer said, while Kepler's attorney argued that a gun found in the Tulsa Police Department several days later could have been taken from the scene. Expert and forensic evidence proved that the two incidents were unrelated. Kepler was found guilty last April and sentenced Friday for using the firearm commission of a second-degree murder. It was his fifth trial on charges in this case. The first three resulted in hung juries, and the fourth resulted in a conviction for manslaughter that was overturned on a technicality. Lake's father, who spoke at the sentencing, and other family members who submitted letters to the court emphasized Jeremy never had the chance to grow into the man he hoped to become for his unborn child. They explained that prior to his death, Jeremy found a steady residence and intended to go on to welding school. They also spoke about his selflessness and willingness to help others, as evidenced by his volunteer work at the homeless shelter. And Johnson's statement said Kepler at the time was sworn to uphold the law, but instead made a series of decisions that led to the young man's murder. Today's 25-year sentence provides a measure of justice to Mr. Lake's family, though I know their healing continues. Wow, shot, and it wasn't even his real daughter; it was a foster kid, foster daughter. Wow. So what did you really have going on with this girl that you would get so upset that you would want to kill her boyfriend? Hmm. Anyway, here's another shooting at a witnesses say a New Jersey cop shot a 25-year-old man who had his hands up. Family and friends are demanding that the Attorney General's office to release any body camera and video footage. And a New Jersey family seeks justice for Thelonious McKnight, a black man killed by police. A family in New Jersey is demanding justice for McKnight, a 25-year-old black man who was fatally shot on December 29th. Police said they were investigating an earlier incident when they encountered McKnight near the intersection of the street of Patterson, New Jersey, around 9 p.m. Uh, sources sources who spoke to the police made a gun arrest earlier in the day in the same area where McKnight was shot. One of the suspects escaped during the incident earlier in the day. Police returned to the area later that night after it got dark and found McKnight, who they believe to be the suspect who escaped. Sources said the young man ran down an alley between two houses trying to flee, but he was unable to escape through a back gate. And the mayor of that city said the 25-year-old drew a handgun and fired toward officers before he was fatally shot. Witnesses are giving a different account. Duke Snyder, one of the witnesses, said he saw the shooting while he was with three of his friends. According to Snyder, McKnight was facing police with his hands up when they shot him in the backyard. A cop drove by and then came back and stopped. Snyder said, according to the report, one of the cops came up and went straight for Thelonious. The other two cops joined him, and they marched Thelonious toward the backyard and made him take his hands out of his pockets. The Attorney General's office released a statement saying a 9mm handgun was found near McKnight's body. Another witness said police initially approached him and three other people. Monto, who was asked if McKnight had a gun at the time of the incident, said, "I don't know." Security footage from the area showed a person who was believed to be McKnight standing on the sidewalk with two other men when the police arrived in the black vehicle and pulled up next to the group with their lights flashing. Three officers then came out of the car and approached the group. Although there is no sound, the footage shows police drawing their guns and chasing the men after a scuffle broke out. There was also a second video recorded by a witness which shows several people saying "don't shoot" and "stop" while the police chased McKnight in the alley. Gunshots were heard a short time later. Wow. So one kid was saying, what did you do to my brother?" A person can be heard on the clip. Family and friends have launched a petition demanding the Attorney General's office to release any body camera and video footage, police reports, and the use of force reports, as well as the names of the three officers involved. The state Attorney General's office hasn't confirmed whether the officers were wearing body cameras. Janet Rodriguez, who spoke for at a vigil for the brother, said she got a call around 9 p.m. on December 29th and learned that McKnight had been shot. Rodriguez saw about 30 officers when she arrived at the scene. She said officers told her and her sister to stay behind the yellow crime tape. The sister said they were angry when they saw one officer who said was standing in the street and talking on his cell phone while laughing and dancing. Wow. McKnight's mother arrived about an hour later after hearing about her son. When she came, Rodriguez said she immediately embraced me and my sister and then demanded to see the Thelonious and wanted to know what happened. The family said they waited in the cold for almost 3 hours before they were asked to go to the backyard for an interview with police. My brother died alone, Rodriguez said. They left him lying on the ground for hours. According to the family, there wasn't an ambulance that arrived on the scene after the shooting happened. Rodriguez said the only medical attention my brother received by a policeman carrying a bag. When the police left, I picked up the bloody sheet they left behind that they covered my brother with, Rodriguez said. And the police also left behind a respirator machine, which is used for CPR. The plastic bag was neatly folded and the hose perfectly coiled up, which proved they never even tried to use it. And the Attorney General's office said in a statement that police and emergency medical personnel rendered first aid, and a doctor from St. Joseph's Medical Center pronounced McKnight died at 9:11 p.m. at the scene. Wow, this stuff, man, is something else, man. Something else. Telling you. Wow, just too much going on, man. Too much going on, folks. Too much going on. This is really a tragic story here. They got authorities in Augusta, Georgia, have launched a manhunt for two suspects accused of fatally shooting an 8-year-old girl in the head as she petted horses outside her home on Saturday. Abri Anthony, an honor roll student at Jenkins Elementary School, began the day visiting her aunt and playing outside. By Saturday night, she was pronounced dead at a local hospital after police say two suspects driving a red or orange Jeep Compass fired as many as 10 shots outside her apartment building. They unleashed a rain of bullets on an area where neighbors kept horses for children to pet. Police said one of those horses was also killed in the attack. We are following up on every lead that comes in, but I cannot and will not accept the fact that no one knows who these suspects are. And that's the county sheriff, uh, Richard Roundtree, told reporters Monday. There are individuals in this community that knew why they were there, knew why they were there for, who they were there for, and who they were after, but yet they failed to come forward with this information. All acts of violence involving gunfire are senseless, but it comes to a child, we take that one personally, Roundtree stated, calling the gunmen cowards. And police are seeking the public's help in identifying the suspects in the vehicle, which may have had a black top or a black stripe on the hood. Meanwhile, Anthony's family has been left shell shocked by such a happy day ending in bloodshed. They said it was just a normal Saturday, a normal day. She loved to play outside, Anthony's aunt Jamila stated, and recalling that she'd visit with her niece and brought her a purple Powerade just hours before the shooting. Just don't understand why someone would do something like that. My brother would never be the same, she said of Anthony's father. What that person stole from us is so unimaginable, and the pain and the hurt. He took something so precious from us and something so senseless. And Daniel described her niece as full of charm and charisma, and a student with the fondness for TikTok and a love for traveling. Jenkins Elementary School officials said they would make grief counselors available for staff and students in light of Anthony's death, which they said left the entire community deeply saddened. And Jason Prouty, the uh, her father's boss, and they set up a GoFundMe page to help the family cover the funeral expenses, saying the 8-year-old was her father's everything and his reason for living. And the family is reportedly planning in a march in the 8-year-old's honor following her funeral. And they said, we're going to get justice for Abri. We are going to protest for Abri. Everyone will know about Abri Anthony. Wow. This is, wow, man. That just kind of took the little wind out of me, man. That's innocent kid over there, man, by a spot where they pretty much had a little petting zoo. People had horses, over there in the area where kids could like pet the horses and stuff. And you got these clowns, man, that come over there, with with the guns. So anyway, like I said, stated earlier, I got a lot of these stories that are pretty close in proximity. And on Thursday, William Cunningham, a man in Monroe, Washington, is being charged with a hate crime over an incident shown in a viral video. The charge stems from an incident at a high school on November 10th, where a white female student racially taunted a black student with an altercation. According to the Monroe Police Department, the victim and a teenage daughter had a confrontation at the school parking lot following an incident earlier in the day where the girl allegedly shoved one of the victim's friends in the school hallway. Video of the confrontation shows the daughter's boyfriend and the victim shoving each other. After the initial scuffle, the daughter went up to the victim and allegedly showed her father the victim's face on a video call. Continue to report. Cell phone video captures the father making death threats at the victim, saying, "If I see you, I'll kill you," and calling the victim racial slurs. And in the video, Cunningham used the N word and warned the black student that he was a white cracker. In recent months, several shocking hate incidents have made national news, and one of the most prominent being a Louisiana judge who stepped down after video emerged of the N word being used in her house while a burglary was in progress. And telling you, man, it's a crazy situation, man. Crazy situation. Yep. So the father, you know, came over there and just went nuts, man. Father just went nuts. Just went nuts, man. And just went over there attacking these. This is a grown man going to a high school, attacking kids. You know, you got two kids involved in some kind of little pushing and shoving match, and now he sits in jail after killing this teenage kid, man. Teenage kid, school kid. Wow, it's crazy, man. Crazy. So this kind of stuff, you know, this kind of stuff right here, man. It's just going, it's just so much of this mess, man. It just goes on and on and on and on, and until the people get to that point where they just gonna say, well, hey, enough is enough, and they start fighting back. Until they start fighting back and saying, well, hey, man, we're not gonna take this foolishness any longer. We're tired of these, you know, Karens and these Kens running up on people. So here's a little Ken right here. It's a little story about a little Ken right here, you know. And this Ken decided he wanted to a New York police it says the New York police officers union is demanding a stiffer penalty for a white man accused of assaulting a black police officer after insulting him with racial slurs. You know, racial slurs. And authorities said on December 28th, uh, Jake Grogan, 21, was speeding through a COVID testing site above the 5 mile per hour limit. And so, going through all that, they get into the cop, it's like, well, wait a minute, man. You can't be riding through here. You speeding through this area. It's a 5 mile per hour limit. And the guy goes off, starts cussing the man out, cussing the cop out, and cussing him out. This, that, and the other. And so anyway, he was arrested. And so now what he claims is it's not illegal to be a racist. This is what he stated after he got arrested for assaulting the black peace officer. Telling you, man. Bunch of Kens and a bunch of Karens out here. You know, you gotta watch out. So here's another related story. We got a lawsuit filed accusing Columbus police of not hiring black men over white applicants. So the two men who were turned down from joining the Columbus Police Department filed a suit accusing them of discrimination. And on Wednesday, Moses Iverson and Darren Kendall of Cleveland filed their suit in U.S. District Court in Columbus, Ohio. And Kendall and Iverson both applied to join the 134th recruit class at Columbus Police Academy. However, both applicants say they were denied the positions and had white applicants with more alarming backgrounds selected in place of them. Iverson and Kendall believed they weren't selected to join the academy because of their race. Kendall and Iverson completed the written test, oral board reviews, polygraph examinations as part of the interview process, but in April, they received letters informing them of their rejection. The letters did not state why they weren't selected, so both men reached out to find out why. The lawsuit says Iverson was told he was rejected for failing to pay back taxes and an old accusation of an inappropriate workplace comment. However, the victim in that later incident wrote a letter of recommendation for Iverson. Kendall was told that he was rejected for having several jobs over the last few years and after being fired from a job as a refuse collector from the city of Columbus for several minor traffic incidents. At the time, both men filed discrimination complaints with the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, but during an August meeting, the organization claimed there was no probable cause for the filing and recommended the complaint be dismissed. But when looking at the background of the white applicants who were accepted into the academy concerning incidents including admission to paying prostitutes for sex, statutory rape, engaging in sexual activity while on the job, use of illegal drugs, including cocaine, heroin, and MDA, driving while under the influence, stealing money from an employer, and admitting to selling drugs. So Kendall and Iverson are suing the Columbus, as well as the safety director, Ned Pettis, a man by the name of Mark Gramlich, which is also named in the following claims that Pettis and Gramlich provided summaries of who the officer positions at the academy. So basically, these guys had a couple of things that the black guys had a couple of things. Like one guy was late for work; he got uh, fired from a job for whatever, you know. But the white guys, they had stuff that they had, man, was unbelievable. The white applicants who were accepted into the academy had concerning incidents that including admission to paying prostitutes. They admitted they paid prostitutes, statutory rape, engaging in sexual activity while on the job, use of illegal drugs, including cocaine, heroin, and MDA, and driving while under the influence, stealing money from an employer, and admitting to selling drugs. So these cops were rapists and drug dealers. These white guys were rapists and drug dealers, admitted that they had paid prostitutes for sex, and they ended up getting hired on the Columbus Police Department. Wow, now that's some news right there, man. That's some news right there. So I think I'm gonna leave it right there, man. I'm gonna leave it right there. You know, outside of wow, that's something, man. That is really something else. Just goes to show you, man, this country is so biased in what they do. They're willing to hire rapists, drug using and drug dealing rapists over white guys, over black guys that have never been convicted of anything on that level. It's telling you, man, it's a sad day. This country's in bad shape. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News. That's right.